And God stepped out on space. And he looked around and said, I'll make the world. And far as the eye of God could see, darkness covered everything. Blacker than 100 midnights, down in the cypress swamp. Then God smiled, and the light came, and the darkness rolled up on one side, and the light stood shining on the other. And God said, that's it. Then God reached out and took the light in his hands, and God rolled the light around in his hands until he made the sun. And he set the sun ablazing in the heavens. And the light that was left from making the sun, God gathered it up in a shining ball and flung it against the darkness, spangling the night with the moon and the stars. Then down between the darkness and the light, he heard the word. And God said, that's beautiful. Then God himself stepped back, and the sun was on his right hand, and the moon was on his left. The stars were clustered around his head, and the earth was under his feet. And God walked, and where he trod, his footsteps hollowed the valley, and bulged the mountains. Then he stood and looked and saw that the earth was hot and barren. So God stepped over the edge of the world, and he spat out the 7 seas. He batted his eyes, and the lightning flashed. He clapped his hands, and the thunder blew. And the water above the earth came down, and the cooling waters came down. Then the green grass crackled, and the little red flowers blossomed. The pine tree pointed its finger to the sky. The oak spread out his arms. The lakes cuddled down in the hollows of the ground, and the rivers ran down to the sea. And God smiled at them, and the rainbow and curled itself around his shoulders. Then God raised his arm, and he waved his hand over the sea and over the land. And he said, bring forth, bring forth. And quicker than God could drop his hands, fishes and fowls and beasts and birds swam the rivers and the seas, roamed the forests and the woods, and split the air with their wings. And God said, that's good. Then God walked around, and God looked around, and all that he had made. He looked at his sun, he looked at his moon, and he looked at his little stars. He looked on his world with all its living things. Then God sat down on the side of a hill where he could think by a deep, wide river he sat down, with his head